Awesome. Let's get started. So welcome everyone who is here today. Welcome to our webinar, Digitalizing Educational Processes with Efficient Management for Schools and Academies. So let's meet your hosts for today. Perfect. So my name is Angelica Vargas. I'm going to be one of your hosts. I'm actually the Director of Research and Development for School Management at True Low Code Technologies. And with me is Artem Tannen, who is the CEO of Jonica. Let him say hi to you.
Hey guys.
Awesome.
Great to hear you. Yeah.
Thanks, Artem. And we have Noelia Democchiore, who is the CPO of Jonica. So I'll let her say hi to you too.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoy this webinar.
Thank you, Noe. For those who are here, make sure to stick around. At the end of the webinar, we're actually going to have a quick surprise for you. So make sure you stay all through the webinar. And we're also going to have a Q&A session to answer any questions you might have. So feel free to add those on the chat box, and we'll be able to address them at the end of the webinar for sure. Okay. To get started, what will you get from this webinar? Why are you joining? What are we going to show you here is we want you to discover, the efficiency of school management through, digitalization in our webinar, right? We want you to uncover those strategies to overcome challenges, like especially paper-based processes and automation, and then gain actionable insights into the real world examples. How can we solve these issues, right? And then get to know low code. What is low code? How does it work? And why is it good for your school or your academy, right? And how can it help us build an efficient and highly customizable school management system? So this is what we're going to be covering through the webinar. So like I said, we're going to get started on two key main pain points, which is paper-based processes and manual repetitive tasks. So for pain point number one, which is paper-based processes, let's take a look at some statistics of just the amount of copying and printing that it's done in a week for a school, right? So if you're working at a school, whether you're a teacher, or you're an administrator, or the principal of a school, you know that there's a large amount of paper being used on a daily basis, right? You have to make copies, whether it's for, deliver assignments to your students, whether it's to the parents to give a notification. So there's a tremendous amount of copying and printing being done. And just to get some idea, I mean, just for elementary school, that's 61 pages of copies for just 1 week. So just multiply that by the time of number of weeks that we have in the school year and the schools, right? So if we actually go to the next slide, we can see how much paper the schools actually use, right? So schools will use an average of 2,000 sheets of paper a day. So that's 320,000 sheets of paper for a whole year. So that's just a tremendous amount of paper. And then based on the paper costing, around 5 cents per sheet, that's $100 per day and $16,000 per year. I think, again, that's a tremendous amount of money that schools can put into different activities rather than just printing, I think. So the benefits of actually going digital is, one, it's going to save you money. It's going to save you time. It's going to save, or you're going to have security. It's going to have a better placement for those papers because that can get lost, right? And then it's going to allow you to be FERPA compliant, making sure that you're meeting all the requirements to make sure that all of your students' information, it's safe, right? So how do we solve all these issues by actually going digital, and fixing all this paper-based processes? So we can actually, the benefits is that manual data entry and inaccuracies are actually very time consuming. So actually going digital is going to help us, have that solved, you could say. So a lot of people sometimes, a lot of people are just typing and they're going really fast and they want to get the task done. So it's prone to errors, right? It's prone to typos. We're just human beings. So we make those mistakes and it's not a purpose. Sometimes it's an accident. We don't notice until someone else does, right? So actually having all these papers and having all that manual data entry out of the equation is going to, allow us to have a smaller range of that errors, right? So another one is improving the accessibility and collaboration. Again, having all those physical documents, there might be just be sitting on your desk, they might be on a filing cabinet, they're probably somewhere very well hidden. So when you actually need them, you have to scram through everything to find it, especially if it's, something very important and you need it like now and you're looking for it. So that stresses you out again, right? And if you need someone to look at your document that you created, you need to create a copy, and then that person can create a copy of a copy. So if there's any changes, notes, or edits, you're never going to know until it gets back to you, right? So actually having this on being digital, you can see what's happening. You can find it a lot more easier. So that's the second one. Going into the third one, there's a vulnerability to loss and communication challenges, right? It could be natural disasters. It could be an accident, right? Maybe you're just sitting down with your papers and maybe signing away, and you drop your cup of coffee, right? So you just messed up all of your papers and you have to redo everything again. So doing that, having it digital, if let's say you spill your coffee in your computer, yes, maybe your computer's ruined, but every information, it's already saved on the cloud. So you can just get on your phone and have, get that information back as soon as possible, or get another computer. So that's another benefit, right? So it's digital. You can access it whenever and wherever. Going into the next one, storage constraints and retrieval issues. Just like I was saying on the past slide, you need a paper and you have this huge pile of documents just stacked on your desk, and having to find something could be difficult. It's going to take you time. It's going to be stressful, because a lot of times it's like, hey, I need this paper at ASAP, and you have to look for it and you can't find it, and you're going to be stressed out because now you think you lost it. And again, it's just time consuming and frustrating. So solving this by having it digital, just, hey, doing a quick search, keywords, find your paper right there and then, and you can send it to your coworker or your boss at no time. Okay, and the last one, and I think this is a really big one, a very important one, is environmental impact and data analysis, right? So environmental impact, like we said at the beginning, you're just using a tremendous amount of paper. So just imagine all that paper that your school is using and multiply by all of the schools in the United States, and even outside of the United States. That's just a crazy amount of paper. If we can all go digital, at least at a slower pace, and getting bigger and bigger with saving this environmental impact, I think there could be a tremendous change, right? So that's one. And then data analysis, right? If you want to make sure that you can understand how many students are, maybe getting A's in a particular class or for a particular teacher, you can actually get that information using a system, right? That's going to allow you to do that in no time, rather than just going, again, document by document, trying to retrieve the data and put it together manually. So that's one of the challenges with paper-based processes, and the solutions of actually going digital. It's just going to solve everything we just talked about. And then auditing and reporting efficiency. Again, there's auditing happening. You have to have all your papers in place. Sometimes schools need to get audited and everyone's cramming, running around trying to get the right documents. And we want to avoid that, right? Again, having everything on the cloud is going to help you get all those papers, be ready, and it's not going to be so stressful, and you're going to save that time. So that's another one. And then in conclusion, I guess we could say that the inefficiencies of just having all these paper-based processes are numerous, and they're very impactful. And actually going digital with these pain points is going to enhance our accuracy. It's going to be help us accelerate in our tasks, and it's going to alleviate all this like administrative burdens, right? And just going beyond these advantages, just transitioning, it's going to help, save us a lot of money. And like I said before, like just paper alone is $16,000 per school. So we can definitely save a lot of money there. So moving on to pain point number 2, and this would be manual repetitive tasks, right? So all those tasks that, they might be annoying, but we know that we have to do every day and have to get done, and they never change, and it's the same thing over and over again. So here's a quick, slide on the stats on how much time it takes per activity, whether it's, teachers again, or whether it's your administrative area. You can actually go in and see, let's say like middle school, almost 20 hours just to do a new student's transfer registration. If you add that up again, you have a person, an employee that you're paying, to do something over and over again that can be done a lot quicker, and you can actually use that employee's time in something a lot more beneficial, right? So just take a look at this and think about it and say, hey, there's a lot of tasks that can be done automatically without me having to put much time and effort into this. So going into the next slide again, I mean, 60% of coworkers say that they could save 6 or more hours a week. That's almost a whole day of work, right? And then 40% of them say that they actually spend, their quarter of work doing repetitive tasks. So that's 40% of their time. That's a crazy amount of time, right? And then according to McKinsey, who did a report on this, is 45% of activities can actually be automated using existing technology. So that's almost 50% of someone's job, right? Again, you can actually take advantage of that, and instead of having them do all this repetitive tasks, put it into something that's going to be a lot more beneficial for your institution or your academy, right? So here are some drawbacks of actually having all this manual repetitive tasks, and that's the burden, right? Your workers, like I mentioned on the slide before, I mean, 50% of their time is spent on doing these tasks that it's an excessive amount of time. You consume a lot of valuable resources, and your workers are going to get tired, right? Your employees, your teachers, they're going to get tired. And they're going to make mistakes. There might be inconsistencies. Maybe one person is working on those tasks and the next day is a different person, and they kind of work a little bit different. So you're going to have those inconsistencies throughout, right? And the third one, and I think it's one that we should all avoid, is having your employees, your teachers burnt out. We don't want that. That is very stressful for them. And again, we can, have them do something that's a lot more beneficial. So how do we solve this? And this is by embracing automation for everyday tasks. And this is what I've been talking about on the last slide. So it's automate all these tasks, and the benefits of it's actually time saving and accuracy, right? So it actually liberates your staff from actually doing all these repetitive manual tasks. It unlocks, all that time saving and heightened accuracy, and then your data is going to remain accurate and dependable. Okay. So some examples in automation of these administrative tasks that some tools can help you do are school analytics and reporting, right? So you can actually have a dashboard with all your analytics and all the reports that you need. So whether you're a karate school, whether you're a music school, whether you're an elementary school, high school, you can, move this around. You can make it fit your school to understand, to have all your needs right there and there on your dashboard, right? So this is the many students that I have, the contacts, the teachers, this is how the class is doing. So you can actually have this on hand, right? Communication hub. Again, you want to communicate with parents, you want to communicate with teachers, with your students. You can actually do that online now, right? And it can be a controlled place where you can send all your messages. Again, if you give a student a paper, it just might never make it back to you, or it just might never reach the parent, right? So you have a report for them, they didn't do well, you send that report over to them, and it just never reached the parent, right? So this is actually a way to solve this. You want to talk to the parent, you can do it through here online, right? You want to do an announcement for your whole class, you can do so again without the need of paper. You can do so through automation as well. You can, hey, I want this message to be sent out on this time, on this day, and you can do so, right? So it's going to save you time, and it's going to save all that paper and money spent. The next one, messages. So you can have direct messages, right? So rather than like an email, it's kind of like a chat, right? So if you want to chat and have a quick conversation with whether it's a teacher or maybe a parent, you can have that as well, right? And at Junica, we can actually have all this set up, right? So if you want to have private chats, if you want to have group chats, we also have, you can have that set up as well. Right. Invoices. So as a school, you also have all these invoices to take care of, right? So you have all these people making payments because, maybe they have to pay on a monthly basis, or they have to pay on a yearly basis. So you have to keep track of that. Definitely. So you want to make sure that you have all that information. You want to make sure that you have everything handy to see this person hasn't paid, this person paid already. the invoice expired, that kind of information, and it's right in front of you, and it's, it's just organized in a manner, or you can search for someone specific and it's going to be a lot more faster. Again, you can print them out if you need to, right? But the idea is just to keep everything online and you have all the information on there. Attendance, you can actually have that as well. Your teachers can track the attendance of a student, right? Whether it's for class or for the whole day, they can track to see who is actually participating in class, who actually was in class, and who wasn't. So you can track that as well without the need of, having pen and pencil, paper and pencil, writing down who was there and who was not. And then you also have access to a teacher card. So just like you would do on paper, you have all their information on the computer, right? Their name, what class they're teaching, their email, phone number, like quick bio. So you have all that information on hand. So anyone else within the admin can actually access it and see the teacher's information. Same for the student. The teacher can see what the student is doing, their name, they have a calendar as well. So they can actually, the students can also go in and see what they have going on for, for classes that day or for the week or for the month. So again, you can do that online pretty easily. Same for the parents. They can access, their students that were, their kids, and see, hey, I have, 2 sons, and I can actually see, my son is in this class, my other son is here, and you can actually see their assignments. So the parents can have that information as well, and they can be, they can be a lot more at ease that knowing that their kids are okay, that their kids are in class, and then their kids are, participating, turning in assignments or quizzes. So that can be done through, school management system as well. Again, scheduling timetables, making sure that you have all your schedules, all your events set up. Schools have a lot of events, so you want to make sure that everyone's aware of them. You want to make sure that they're all, accessible, so they can see when the event is, what the event is about, the time. So you can have that again online, and anyone can access it according to what you set up, right? Maybe you don't want everyone to access it, so you can set up for that for your students or for your teachers as well. A call room, right? Maybe rather than having a parent driving all the way down to school to have a meeting with them, you can do so online, right? So there's no need for them to spend their time, driving 10, 20 minutes from home back to school to have a meeting, but you can actually do so online. It's going to be quicker and time saving as well. Okay. And then knowledge base, this is the admin view, but you have the knowledge base. This is another place where, your students or your teachers can upload their information. So let's say that they're going to be reading a book, they can actually upload it here, and the students can go in, search for it, and do their reading there. If you have a user guide, if you have a video, maybe a teacher recorded themselves for a class or for a project, and they want to make sure that the students have it accessible so they can complete it, you can do so there. So again, it's not only paper-based processes, but any information or any additional activities that you have that you might want your students to have access to. Now you have a tool that can help you with that. So wouldn't that be amazing for your students to know that they can just go online onto the knowledge base and get all that information? And just going into the real user problems, I do know that there are already school management tools in place, but they do have some problems, and that is that sometimes they lack flexibility. They're very costly for schools. Sometimes they're not user friendly. The teachers don't know how to use them. Their students don't know how to use them, and maybe they don't even log in because it's so complicated. And then parents saying they don't understand it, right? It's not scalable. Maybe your school is growing. Maybe you want to change something. Maybe you want to add a different class. And sometimes it just doesn't allow you. Those tools don't allow you. So we doing this research, we did find that, there are a lot of parents and teachers, principals or schools that say, what, yes, this, having everything digitalized is great, but sometimes there's restraints with the tools that we have. So that's where we actually come in place. And that's what we want to talk to you about today. And it's the idea about low code. So I'm going to pass the microphone over to Noe so she can explain to you a little bit about what low code is and how it can actually help us solve issues that we just read in the slide before. Go ahead, Noe.
Thank you, Angelica, for presenting the industry pain points and how to solve them. Now it is my turn to introduce you into the low code concept. So as Angelica mentioned, the idea is to present you what it is, and if you have any kind of question, probably at the end of the presentation we can solve them. So to explain you low code, I would like to reference an example from the real life so that everybody can follow me. Imagine that you want to build a Lego castle, but you are just starting with Lego, learning how to use Lego bricks. So low code is like having a special Lego pieces that are easy to snap together without the need to know all the complicated details or all the complicated technical aspects of the solution. So you don't need to build everything from scratch. So instead of spending time figuring out every tiny piece and how they fit together, you can use the special Lego pieces, or in the real world, we call them low-code tools that are already pre-built and that make it much quicker and easier to build any solution. Even if you're just getting started and you don't know how to build a solution from scratch, so low-code can help you in those first stages. So the basic point or something that we wanted to highlight here is that low code can help you to create things faster and with less effort. It doesn't matter like what type of solution you have in mind. You can do it with low code. So if we go to the next slide, yeah, thank you. The idea is to review those specific advantages from low code. So if we move to the next one, please. Perfect. So first of all, why we said with low code, basically we are the time of development is reduced because instead of using traditional code logic or going to code a solution from scratch, you just simplified using rules or business processes that are connected together. We use an universal notation standard that is the BPMN 2.0 that basically using drag and drop, you can connect all the pieces together, you can create data models, you can build the solution and scale as you need the solution. So you don't need to build anything from scratch, and the process takes significantly less than developing a solution from scratch. The second point, the advantage, is the reduced cost, because since you don't need technical expertise and the development time is reduced, you are resulting on less cost, absolutely. And the third point is the customization. So now let's talk a bit about customization. The most important when using something that I want to highlight here is that the most important when you are building a solution in low code is basically your expertise on the business process, the business rules, because the rest relies on the technical aspects, on the low code, basically. So you don't need to worry about how to build something because it's already pre-built using low code. So that's the idea, that you can customize as much as you need, as much as you want, basing on basically on your expertise on the industry itself. And if we go to the next slide. Thank you. So the next advantage from low code is the user-friendly interfaces. As I mentioned before, it is simple for non-technical people. In simple steps, you can customize layouts and forms by just dragging and drop widgets and specific tools that we already have built using low code. And you don't need to worry about how to build them. So we have those widgets already. And the last point, but not least, is scalability. Local solutions scalability depends basically on your business expertise to expand. From technical point of view, there are no restrictions. You can use integrations mechanisms to databases, to legacy solutions that probably you are already using, services to retrieve data, different data sources, machine learning, artificial intelligence, analytics and reporting. It is basically, it basically can scale as much as you wish. That's the point here. So yeah, going back, I think the next slide, yeah, Angelica will present you what.
Thank you so much, Noe. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to add them on the chat box. For now, we've reached the end, but this is the surprise that we wanted to talk to you guys about, right? So we do have a 30-minute consultation available with our team, and that's for free for anyone who would like to take advantage of this. But also the first 3 people who register are actually going to be eligible to get a free pilot. So, if you have your phone in front of you, if you want to use the link below, make sure to go in, register as quickly as you can. And what this free pilot means is just means, say that you have a karate school, or you have an English school, Spanish school, whatever, or a high school. You can actually, have some people from our team create this platform for you. Make sure that we tailor it, the school management system to your needs, and we can create that for you. So that's what the free pilot is. Make sure that you go in, make sure to register. I'll leave this on for, the next minute maybe, so you can go in and click on this. And yeah, Artem, do you have anything that you want to add as of now, or should we move on to Q&A session?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, thanks a lot for the content, and this is a very I'm actually very excited to kick off the series of events. That was initial webinar about the very common and general things to start with, but I really want to know who are presented here. Maybe they can I can ask Nayeli and Socorro, if I'm pronouncing right, to maybe give a little intro in the chat, maybe, or even connecting, and we can give you the mic because it's very interesting to know what drives your interest for the school digitalization. And yeah, maybe you have some questions left. Feel free to ask.
Yeah, if you want to add to what Artem said, feel free to raise your hand, and I can actually pass the mic on over to you. Otherwise, we can move down to the Q&A session for sure. So let's give them a minute, maybe. I do have one question in the Q&A chat box. We can move on to that in a second. Looks like we don't have further comments. So I'm moving down to the Q&A session for sure. So the first question that I have says, hi, Angelica, thank you for the webinar. I'm just curious, how can we use low code to benefit us, smaller educational institutions with limited resources? So the one thing that I can tell you is that low code tends to be a lot more cost effective than, the solutions that are already made out there. And also you can tailor it to a smaller institution, right? Sometimes the ones that are already made are specifically made for bigger schools, who already have all these kind of systems in place and their processes. And for us, smaller schools, maybe we want to start from scratch. Maybe we don't need something as big as the tools that are out there, but we want something made to fit us, right? So this is how low code is actually beneficial for you. One is going to save you money, and it's actually going to be a better fit for your school or your institution. Okay. Is there any other question? Yep, we got another question. So how secure are low-code applications, especially when dealing with sensitive student data? So that's actually a really good question. And low code is actually, security is a top priority for us in the development. So, low code platforms, they typically offer robust security features, and you can implement, any additional features or security measures that are needed. And in our case, we actually offer configuring the system according to the security policy, and that's directly done in our system administration for sure. Yeah, I mean, for Junica, we actually, we can guarantee that, the security of personal data and privacy policies, they're as encrypted data. So definitely that's something that Jonica takes into consideration to make sure that we're complying with, with FERPA maybe, or, if you're in another sector, we will also take a look into that for sure. The next question, how long does it take to implement a new system or learn how to use? Noe, maybe I can pass that question over to you.
Thank you. So yeah, that's a tricky question because it depends on solution complexity, depends on the integrations needed, depends on the business processes or rules. But using Jonica low-code platform, you can basically efficiently automate business processes and reduce the complexity of development. So for sure, it will take less than developing anything from scratch. I can't comment a period for all kind of solutions, but I can share how much it took to develop a couple of examples of ready-made demos available to everybody in our website. By the way, you can access our website. It is jonica.io, and you can also review there we can share also the link, but you can review some use cases that we already have available, and you can request for access for some of them. So coming back to the question, we have an HRM solution that was built in 20 days, a claim management solution that took almost 25 days to be developed, and a data catalog or inventory solution that took almost 10 days to be developed. So you can see from there how much the time is reduced, or the development time is reduced compared to other type of solutions that are developed, not using low-code technology.
Awesome. Thank you, Noe. I don't think we have any more questions for now. So I think we can, conclude the event. I think, there were some really good questions. But if there are any additional questions that maybe, we didn't answer for you, or do you like to make, you can definitely reach directly to me if you want to make these questions outside of the webinar. You're welcome to do that as well. And yeah, I mean, again, thank you for joining, for those who stayed till the end, and feel free to reach out to anyone from our team if you have, any questions. And so happy to have you here for sure. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Noe. Thank you, our team, for being here. And yeah, looking forward to more events like this. And if you have anything in mind, maybe that you want to discuss further, look at a demo case afterwards, we can do so for sure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Angelica.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.